Company won't give raise to an underpaid employee. Not my story, but happened to a coworker. I know this because we were all really close and knew each other's numbers, even though it was against company policy to share salary details with coworkers. Yes, it is perfectly legal to have policies in my country. I had a coworker, let's call him A, who was lowballed pretty bad fresh out of college. A was earning 40% less than other coworkers of similar experience, including me. Apparently, the HR promised them a raise big after probation period without giving anything in written. As you'd expect, they refused to give him more than 5% raise after a year. I should mention that given the nature of the industry and skill level of people in our cohort, it is fairly easy to get a new job if you get fired. So with our agreement, he brought up point that he's way underpaid compared to any of his coworkers and he knows the numbers. Again, our manager said that they won't give any raise unless he has a counter offer or he's free to leave anytime. Now, malicious compliance. This guy started applying for jobs left and right, and got a couple of offers, both almost double his current salary. Turns out his manager was bluffing all along and had to give him 110% raise to get him to stay. Which meant that we all also knew what they can offer and threatened to leave unless they give a better offer. Ultimately, they had to give all of us 30 to 40% raise to match the other guy's offer without any counter offers for ourselves. Within 6 months of this, most of us, including A, left the company for better pay and benefits. TLDR. Company refuses to give a well-deserved raise to a good employee and ends up giving him and many other employees a very high raise, eventually losing all of them anyway. One of my coworkers was in this situation. She did not have a college degree, but worked in a position that typically required one. Her official title was basically the lowest level possible for this particular position. Her pay might have been appropriate when she started, but over the years, she became one of the top performers of her department. Eventually, the department started expanding, and so a bunch of new people were hired. They were mostly fresh out of college, and thus didn't have the 10+ years of experience this employee did. So she was responsible for training them. It turns out, these new employees were being paid significantly more than she was. She talked to management multiple times about getting a raise. She was always shot down, with the reason being that company policy cannot pay more to someone without a college degree. Eventually, she started looking for a new job. A few hours after she handed in her resignation, she was offered a pay raise that would more than double her salary. She did not stay. If you have to threaten to quit to get a raise, then find a different job and quit. You don't want to work for that kind of company. One job I quit, my letter of resignation specifically stated that I would not consider a counteroffer. The owner was a cheap bastard with the ethics of a used car salesman. And now you know why. Company policy was to not discuss salaries. Cheat me once, shame on you. They will try cheat you and leave you in the lurch if it suits their needs. I would not have taken the company match. I would have walked for spite. One thing I liked at my old real job was they had salary bands for each position. Their goal was to bump you to the middle of your band as quickly as possible and then slowly move you to max. Once you hit max, you couldn't get a raise, because they expected you to get promoted. I came into my job starting out as tech support, so they underpaid me. When the new company took over, I got some nice raises. You should share this over in our work reform. They would appreciate this. We've got new hiring wages. Anyone in before that point got moved to it. If they were under, One of my coworkers did not. They was on probation during this time. So their official start date is after the new date for the raises. He told me this about a month ago. Me going directly to the bookkeeper and pointing out that my coworker was hired in before their new pay rates and would be on the list to receive the new pay rates. She attempted to inform me, employee does not have an old hire date, as they do not do that. Me saying goodbye to her and stepping into the plant manager's office. Suffice it took me 2.5 minutes of telling him and him turning around and fixing the problem. With her whining all the time about, that's now how we do that. My coworker now has his correct hourly wage. I've been with the company a very long time and am very outspoken on policy and company issues and have zero issues with bringing them forward to be more looked at if and when they are done. I'm not easily replaceable either. So that's the point of me taking the front and pushing into the battlefield for people. Nice. I'm working for the same company for 7 years now and recently found out I get paid the lowest. Although I work more than some. This story makes me happy and sad at the same time. Moral of the story is that if your workplace tries to prevent you from discussing your wages, kill and eat your boss. This is basically unionizing in all but name. Reminds me of what my company did to my coworker. We're both subcontractors, and by the time I was hired, the guy the first worked had been there for a year. We started talking about salary. Found out he was making 2.5x less than me and he had more certificates than I had. I just had more time in the field. So he asked if I'd be mad if he left. Told him I'd be mad if he stayed. He begged for raises. Got another 2 certs. And the company still told him no. So he found a job that paid 1.5 times more than I made. And left with no regrets. This gives me life. I love this story. To hell with the oligarchs. Capitalism and the free market at their finest, or maybe just at their least awful. Who would stay after the company shows you that they do not appreciate your work and that they have been stealing from you by underpaying you? May I ask in what kind of industry this happened? And the moral of the story is, if you pay your employees shit, make sure they never find out about it. I'm sure that company is going around claiming nobody wants to work and blaming unemployment benefits too. And that's, children, way it's not allowed to talk about salaries in many places.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.